One of my favorite quotes that you say is, we're trying to kill our pain and we will continue to recreate the pain in real life if we don't get to the bottom of it. And that we have to go there. We got to go deep and we have to face it.
I think when you have a problem with food and weight, you hope, you don't want to deal with it. You got to deal with it, but you deal with it first at the most superficial level. So, obviously diets, weight loss programs, exercise programs, these are the things we chase because it seems like the right thing to do. Like, you have excess weight, go on a weight loss program, calories in, calorie out, lose, change your eating plan so you eat fewer calories, eat less, exercise more. That's what the conventional wisdom is. And yet for somebody who is an emotional eater, it doesn't work because you cannot do that, And so for me, I just, I did superficial things. So I did diets and weight loss programs. And then I went to a 12-step program, which is going a little deeper. And then I went to eating disorders therapy, which is going deeper, and self-help books. And you'd think maybe eating disorders therapy, that's the deep stuff. Problem for me with therapy is that I was in my head. Okay. So I talked about sexual abuse at therapy and we switched it around, but I did not heal in my heart. And so I was very, I could talk about these things, but it was disconnected from what was in my heart. And what I had to do is had to get to a place where I felt safe enough to go to my heart. And the therapy office didn't make me feel safe enough. So I needed somebody sitting next to me, holding my hand, and this is back in the 80s before we had virtual, I work with people virtually a lot now, but at the time, like somebody who actually could walk me through and somebody who had the same problems, in my experience, if somebody hasn't had this problem, they're going to be somewhat limited in how much they can help. There's something magical about somebody who's been, obese, somebody who's had sexual abuse. Somebody who's healed from emotional eating. There's an identification there that you don't get sitting in a therapist's office, and I'm kind of discerning when I'm looking at people, who help around certain issues. I'm like, have they had it? And I just, there's a sense of credibility that somebody who's had the problem can, lend to the solution, I think, than somebody who studied the problem. So that was the problem for me about the therapy level, not to knock therapy. There's some amazing therapists, very intuitive, and some of them have been through it too. So, but the bottom line is that I had to go deeper and deeper, but then I had to have that identification piece where I was getting help by somebody who's actually healed from the same thing I was trying to heal from. But that journey, as Gary Zukav says, to the seat of the soul, it takes time. But it definitely takes removing the focus from food and weight. So somebody has to, in my experience, step out of the diet paradigm. Like 98% of all diets fail for a good reason. They're dealing with the symptom. They're not dealing with the problem. Overweight is a symptom of overeating, and overeating is a symptom of what's eating me. So that's absolutely where I have to go with it, and not just, and just like trying to switch it around with my eating behaviors or what foods I'm drawn to, and let's analyze that. Is it soft? Is it creamy? Is it crunchy? To me, that's all too superficial. Like, I have to go to what my emotions are and what my thought processes are, how I'm showing up in the world. These old coping tools, how they've made their ways into my adult life and how they're backfiring on me now and creating the stress that I'm stress eating over. Because the good news about this problem is that, I'm not a victim of food cravings. Like, it seems like, when the craving to eat chocolate strikes, it seems like it just came from nowhere. But my experience, it does not come from nowhere. Like, it's very, we can track it. Okay. And I think about 90% of food cravings are emotional and not physical. Definitely I'm a sugar addict. You feed me sugar, I want more sugar. There's no question about it. You give me something ooey gooey and chewy, and I'm not going to stop at one. But apart from that sugar, that pull of the sugar or the carb that, metabolizes the sugar, beyond that part of the addiction, it's emotional. And so the good news about that is that I can start making changes in the way I'm living that will decrease the stress that I'm stress eating over, which puts kind of the power back in my hands to heal. So it's not like lightning where it just strikes, randomly, and chocolate cravings strike randomly. No. It's actually, I'm creating it. And so that means I can uncreate it.
Yeah, that's powerful.